All right, USFL and football fans everywhere. Welcome to a USFL Network live interview with Brandon Barnes of the Houston Gamblers. As always, I am your host, Ace at Pocket Aces _ USFL, joined by my brother Maverick. Maverick, where can we find you?
You can find me at Pardon My Take 1 on Network.
All right. And like I said earlier, our special guest tonight is electric receiving tight end for the Houston Gamblers of the USFL, Brandon Barnes. Brandon, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Oh, fantastic. All right. Well, this interview was brought on because you had posted on Twitter that you had one of the craziest stories coming into the USFL and you hadn't gotten one interview. And being as I am the Gamblers representative of our network, and I love this team, I was ashamed that I hadn't gotten to talk to you yet. So I wanted to bring you here, give you a platform, and just talk about it. So I guess let's start at the beginning. You know, back in 2020, you were in the XFL. You played for Los Angeles. That happened. You know, season ended early. Then what kind of from there? What led to the USFL?
Can you guys hear?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear us, Brandon?
Okay, but
All right, now you're cutting out. You're cutting out a little bit. Okay, you've been choppy.
For it could get a little better. Out here in Alabama.
That's better.
Okay, so make a long story short, my story actually started way before the XFL. In high school, I wasn't really recruited by anybody. I had to walk on in high school. My high school I'm from a small town in Alabama called Phoenix City, and it's two high schools here. It's a powerhouse, and then we have the school I went to, and they're coming up now, but we really weren't known for football. So coming out, we big coaches come recruit our school because it just wasn't, it wasn't a lot of good football in our area. And so I ended up having, and I chose Alabama State because I had an older cousin there. And the first year I got to Alabama State, I was a regular student. Like I wasn't on the, like I was considering walking on playing basketball. School, so I thought about doing that, but I really didn't know if I was going to play football. And then one of my coaches came up to me going into my classroom, and he was basically telling me to look, I know you used to play football. I know you have ambitions on playing football. So, and I played receiver in high school. Your best bet is to, try to play tight end with me. And so I, made a decision walking on to Alabama State. And during my time there, I ended up starting, after like 3 years. I did pretty good my freshman year. Probably started maybe 6 games, and I caught like 3 balls, but all 3 balls were touchdowns. So it's kind of interesting. And kind of struggling to get on scholarship. I didn't get on scholarship until my junior year on the field, so it was almost like my classroom. And I had been starting for like 2 years prior to that. And my mom ended up passing away that same year. So when she passed away, like I thought about quitting football, like for me, because that was my mom, like person I love the most, and she's not, no longer there. So it was that. And my junior year ended up being my best year at Alabama State. Statistically, I had a pretty good. To my senior year, that's the year. You think about going to the NFL and all this stuff, and you know, uh, I was starting to get a little interest from scouts and stuff like that professionally, and I ended up my right patella tendon. So I ruptured my whole patella tendon, and that's like a super bad injury. I've seen guys not play again from it. It's more common now, but it's just kind of crazy. Like I just tore it, and so I had to battle back from that, and that injury's supposed to be you're supposed to be out at least a year. I was out maybe 6 months. Just rushing back. I ended up playing my whole senior year, and my senior year was probably I had in college. I had 5 catches the whole year. So, nobody's, it's kind of hard to get noticed. I'm already at a smaller, HBC. And then, I had the worst year my last year. And it wasn't because of talent. It just was like, I guess the scheme or whatever was just not fitting me. So after that, I lucked up and ended up going undrafted to Detroit. I got cut from Detroit. In the summer, I ended up pulling my hamstring on that same leg that I had the surgery on the year before. And once I pulled that, I ended up going to the Jets for a little minute. Then Detroit brought me back on practice squad. And then that was the same offseason Matt Patricia got there. And, I guess I just wasn't one of his guys. I ended up getting cut again. So that led me to the AAF. And the AAF, I did pretty good. Played that whole season out until it folded. And, it was a good opportunity for guys like me, kind of like this league will, because guys need film. You have a lot of guys who's talented. They need film or whatever to, continue on their career. And next year, well, right after that, I ended up going to the Raiders. So I signed with the Raiders. And I was there for like pretty much all the training camp. And that's cuts. I was one of the lead builder. And, like I was crushed because I'm thinking like, man, I might be in the door now. But I ended up getting cut from the Raiders. That's what led me to the XFL. And in the XFL, I'm not gonna lie to you, I had a really good year. So it was, I think it's the other team, Parham Durham. I think he starts for the Chargers.
Mhm.
He was number 1 in yards in the XFL. I was number 2 in yards from tight end. And I ended up tearing my left patella tendon.
Oh my gosh.
So I tore my left and then going into the game of the season right before COVID hit. So,
Dang.
once I did that, it's really looking bad because it's like, okay, I had a right patella tendon, and I'm a little older now, so I know I'm pretty much gonna be out a year. I know this. So while at home trying to figure out how to rehab, it's a whole pandemic. So I had to figure out how I was going. Everything was pretty much shut down. So after that, I ain't know it's called Impact Performance in Columbus, Georgia. They did a pretty good job with helping me. But the thing is, restrictions on how many people could be in the gym at the same time. It was crazy. But like I had to do something if I wanted to continue playing. So after my getting healed, I'm trying to, figure out, okay, am I gonna go back to the NFL or whatever? Like I need to do whatever I can do to get in a scout's eye or whatever. So I started recording these 40-yard dashes, L drills, broad jumps, all types of stuff, almost like it was another pro day. And nothing happened that year because it was 2021, of a pandemic, and it was still kind of going on. Nothing happened that year.
I think we may have lost you. Can you hear me? Brandon? Brandon, can you hear me? Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I think we may have lost audio with him. I think we were getting to the good part. Come on.
I know.
Brandon, we can't hear you, buddy. I don't know if he can hear us either.
I don't think he can hear us. Can you hear me?
No. I can hear you, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Let me see if I can get a hold of him. Brandon! Can't hear you. This is always the funny part. Can't hear you. Can't hear you. I wonder if he muted himself. Yeah, he's probably like,
I doubt it.
very into the story right now, too. Okay. I wonder. You won't see my message on Twitter. Well, we're used to technical difficulties. No worries. We're going to figure this out. Not totally sure how. Yeah, I fully get. This is kind of funny. He fully can't hear us. I think he is going on his story. He can't hear us. Hey, there you go.
See, that works.
Can he see that? Can he see that? Let's see. Brandon, can you hear us? Brandon? Oh no. Let me message him on Twitter. All right, let's see. Uh-oh. All right, let's see if I can get him back.
Did we lose him?
Yes. All right, we got him. All right, Brandon, can you hear us?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. You may have gotten like 2 years further into your story and we couldn't hear you. That is kind of funny. So where it cut out was that it was a year.
To go in.
Did you say you need to go inside?
I might go inside, cause
No worries.
This is like I'm in the backwoods.
No worries. We've gone through basically all the technical difficulties that you can think of. So no worries. Just whatever it takes. It's all good.
Okay. Let's see. Good. Now
we can hear you.
So where did I leave off at?
Where we got to was it was the year after COVID. You had been working out in Georgia.
Okay, so yeah, I moved to Atlanta and I ended up getting, so I was working 2 jobs, and at Costco's and then at Nike part time, and then I was working out in between. So like from Costco would be from like 5 a.m. to like 10 a.m. Then right after that, I would go work out, drive 30 minutes to go work out, go home, take a nap, and then go to work from like 3 to like 9 whenever Nike closed. I did this every day for like 7 months. Like pretty much
That's
when
a
I got
brutal
word that
schedule.
the USFL was coming, I pretty much did that for 7 months, and I knew it was coming, so just working out, trying to keep it, and then the draft finally hit, and when the draft hit, I got drafted. I was the first tight end to get drafted. I was excited. My brother had happened to been in the hospital at the time because he was having trouble with his kidneys, and he ended up passing away the day after I got drafted.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, so I ended up playing the whole year, just kind of thinking about that, and it was rough, but I'm not as I mean, literally 5, 6 times. My mom passed away in college, and then I was a walk on. I had 2 knee surgeries, and then my brother passed away right before the USFL season.
I will agree. That is a pretty insane story. The fact that you kept going and working out through the surgeries, through the family, losses. It's one, impressive and crazy, and two, shows just the mental toughness that you have as a person and as a player.
Yeah, I mean, in college, it's like I had to develop that type of mental toughness because I didn't have it, when I was in high school, but like over the course of college, like I kind of had to, gain it because of the fact that like, I was a walk on, and I'm just, I'm gonna be honest with you, walk ons don't get treated the same as scholarship guys. And it sucks when like you're in college and you pay for school out of your pockets. Your backup might be on full ride. It's just crazy.
That's ridiculous.
So
Well,
it's just one of them things I had to like gain over the course of time.
well, I'm glad you got through it. I'm glad you got drafted and you were a Houston Gambler. So once the training camp, once you ended up getting there, the season started. How did it go? How did you like the USFL?
I'm gonna be honest, like the USFL is a blessing, and I mean, if that played in it tells you otherwise, I just don't see how they could see that it's not a blessing. I mean, you get to further your career. The league lasted because I've been in other
Hmm.
spring leagues, the AAF and the XFL, and this league actually lasted the whole year. It was organized. It was good quality football, great opponent. You know, every team had great guys, like as far as like character wise, and the field. Like it's a lot of guys like could play in the National Football League that was in this league. So I mean, it was great competition, and then my teammates, I ain't gonna lie, like those are guys that I'm gonna keep in touch with for life. I played with a
I have
good
heard
group
that
of
from
guys.
every gambler.
Like seriously, I've never been on a team where I'm just being honest. I've never been on a team where I literally liked everybody. Like it's not one
That
dude
definitely
on my
makes it more
team that
enjoyable.
I don't like. Right.
Well, what about the coaching staff? How do you think the Gamblers coaching staff was as a whole? We got to talk to Coach Runnels on our show one time at the beginning of the season.
Uh, well, our coaching staff, there's a lot of experience. I love my tight end coach, the tight end special team coach, like best coach I've, best special team coach I've ever had, like literally. I mean NFL because he coached in the NFL for a while, so like you know, I mean at any level, he's probably the best ever been around. Like seriously, I can't even brag on this dude enough. Like he made special teams fun. Like everybody on the team wanted to play special teams. Uh, Sumlin is Sumlin's a great dude. He's a great dude. Um, all our coaches was kind of funny too. They were characters. Coach Beatty is a real passionate guy. He was the receiver coach, and he was real passionate. Like you could tell you could tell he coached college for a while because he treated us almost like he recruited us. It was kind of like weird. Like he treated us almost like a nice college coach would. Me about us a lot. And you could tell like he was real passionate about it, loves the game, like just a great overall coach. The defensive, I love all of them too. Like they some characters over there too. Um, Mark Snyder, that's probably my favorite coach on the team, and I know that's the linebackers coach. He's just hilarious. Just watching him, like he's just a funny guy to watch. Tim Lewis, he's a great dude. He cut me before. He probably doesn't even know that, but I never told him. But he cut me in the AAF actually, and he has no clue. Like he has no clue who I am. I never mentioned it to him, but he cut me a couple years ago. But I mean, he's a great dude though. Once I got to know him, I like him a lot. And then Ty brings that. Ty Warren, the D line coach, he brings the just the football experience. Like he played with the New England Patriots, so he knows a lot about ball, and just watching how the D line worked. Our D line was pretty dominant, if you ask me. So, and I mean that had a lot to do with Coach Ty. Coach Ty knew what he was doing. Like he's probably one of them coaches that I could see coaching at the next level too. Definitely.
Oh yeah, the president of the USFL network, Hype, the one who reached out to you on Twitter, he is a huge Patriots fan. He's from Boston, and he actually has a story where he was at his ex-wife's shop one night, and they had just closed, and it was a clothing shop. And Ty Warren came in after they had closed, and he had just become a Patriot, and they were going to, I believe, the London game, and he had no clothes. And so they let him in after hours and let him buy a bunch of clothes. And so he is obsessed with him. And he was so excited that he's a coach in this league.
Oh yeah, Ty, good dude, man.
All right. Maverick, what questions do you have about the season?
So, sorry, I've been having technical difficulties. I'm lagging a little bit. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
So actually, I wanted to tell you a little story, Brandon, about we actually, Ace and I had a fantasy show, and we were in a couple fantasy leagues, and I actually drafted you in one of my fantasy leagues as my tight end. And it was pretty competitive the first couple weeks. My team, it was not very good. I did not do as well as I'd hoped, but I kind of lost a little bit of interest in it and didn't pay as much attention to it. And I checked, I want to say week 8, I checked my team with, a couple minutes left I think the Gamblers were the last game to be played. And I was down by maybe 3 points. And I want to say it was week 8. You caught a touchdown and you won me my fantasy game.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. Was that week 8, I think? Maybe week 7?
Yeah, I think it was week 7 or 8.
Yeah, I was watching. I went
week 8.
Crazy. I was disappointed that you were kind of underutilized in the passing game throughout the year to give me more fantasy points, but you looked excellent on that play.
Yeah,
So,
man. I might have. Yeah, I feel like me and the other tight end, Julian Allen. I do feel like we were kind of underutilized. I'm just one of those guys. Like I'm kind of unselfish, so at times it was frustrating because we was losing by so close. Like we was having these crazy losses. Like I've never seen anything like this in my life. Like where we would just lose the last minute of the game, and we did it for like 3 or 4 straight weeks. And I'm just like, man, like, and then we was kind of getting underutilized. I was a little frustrated, but I didn't let it vocalize. I just wanted to win at that point. I didn't care how many touches I got. I just wanted to win at the end of the day.
No, as a Panthers fan, I can relate to that. I think at one point we had lost 4 games by a combined 10 points. Like we would lose on the last. We would have the last chance with the ball with 30 seconds to kick a field goal, and we'd turn the ball over at the last second or throw a Hail Mary and not get it. So I completely understand. But even as a Panthers fan, I was watching you guys because usually I watch the games with Ace, and he's a huge Gamblers fan. And even I found myself rooting for you guys because you guys deserved it so many times. Just never seemed to get that win at the end. And there was a lot of talent in this league, but I feel like the Houston Gamblers were the team that should have been in the playoffs and weren't.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And I ain't gonna lie, it's a lot of dudes that what's crazy for our record to be 3-7. They definitely respect us. Like I don't think the only game I just honestly think we should have lost was Tampa the second time. Like Tampa just flat out just had our number that week. But other than that, like I feel like we should have won every game. And we could have won every game. And we was leading at halftime every week.
So I think there was 1 week. Like one week y'all weren't leading.
Yeah, and I think that was the Tampa game.
I think so.
The Tampa game the second time. So I want to say that might have been week 8.
Yeah. And I think that was the one where you scored the touchdown when Kenji came in after Clayton got hurt.
No, that was week 7 because that was when we was playing teams and we ended up playing the Stars. I think the Stars was the last North team we played.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken.
I believe they were.
And then we started playing the South teams, and we started off with Tampa because we lost to Tampa, and then we beat the other 2 North teams. The other 2 South teams.
Yeah. Well, I think it's funny that you brought up Julian Allen because someone who is in my DMs every Gamblers game is Julian Allen's dad, Rob. And he was the biggest proponent of saying that y'all two were underutilized and that you had some of the best hands on the team and that you just needed more balls thrown y'all's way. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest. If you would have seen the camp me and Julian had, because I got a lot of respect for Julian as a player. Like he's really good. He's probably one of the most physical backside blockers I've ever seen. Like seriously, he comes back across and them DNs like they really be scared because it's like he's put on tape that he doesn't care. And me and Julian had a crazy camp. Like we was catching 7, 8 ball. Like if we did like a team period or whatever, me and Julian would catch like 7, 8 balls a piece. And you would think like, just if you was looking at us preseason or during camp, you would think like, man, these tight ends are about to go crazy. But I guess it just went the other way when the season started, sometimes it happens like that.
It seemed like, it could have been play calling a little bit, but also it seemed like when Kenji came in, he really liked to throw the tight ends a lot more than Clayton did when he was throwing. So I thought if maybe he'd gotten a little more touches, he liked throwing to y'all more. And when he did, it was successful. You and Julian were both making great catches. I know you had a touchdown. I'm not sure if he had a touchdown, but you guys were great, especially across the middle.
I think the difference was, like the play calling was a little different for Kenji than it was Clayton, because Clayton is more of a pocket passer. I mean, he can run if he just flat out has to, but he's more of a pocket passer. So a lot of times, like early in the year, just me being honest, I noticed that we ran a lot of our passes out of 10 personnel. So I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's no tight ends on the field. And our run game was really clicking early in the year. So it was pretty much like, when the tight end's in, we gonna run the ball. And couldn't nobody stop it for the first couple of weeks. Like, I want to say halfway through the season, Mark had been leading the league in rushing. So pretty much, they wanted to use me and Julian to block it. I mean, the run game was flat out working. But so like, early in the year, we didn't really run too many passes. Like, we didn't run the routes. So I think it was just because the run game was working so well. It was just like, we can't have them blocking every play and then expect them to go deep. It's only two of us. It's kind of different with this league. That's the only thing I kind of disliked about the USFL. I feel like it should have had spots because, once guys started going down and getting injured, it was like kind of hectic trying to sign guys. They have to play. A couple teams, they ended up having to play a quarterback that never, barely even practiced with the team. It was kind of crazy.
The Maulers did that 2 separate weeks, where 2 separate weeks they started a quarterback that had been on the team less than 10 days, which is ridiculous and crazy to me. But that's the essence of the league with the short rosters that they had.
Right. I mean, it was kind of hard. So like me and Julian, if we run a lot of 12 personnel and then we got, whereas 2 tight ends on the field and, we're blocking for Mark, the type of blockers me and Julian are, it's like, blocking kind of wears you down. And it's like, we're blocking as hard as we can. And then, it's kind of hard if we're third and long or something like that, and then we just got to run like a vertical, so they're just put the receivers in. They had them fresh legs and they can run. Like, all our receivers pretty fast. Like, I feel like we had a lot of speed on our team. I just wish we could have. I've wished like offensive defense created a lot of turnovers and points, but I wish offensively we would have clicked a little better. And then when Kenji started getting, coming around, Kenji was, he has another dynamic that Clayton doesn't have as far as like scrambling. You know what I'm saying? Kenji can run and he can throw a pocket really well. So, and then we had to, we could run out of 10 personnel. We didn't have to run out of 12 because, basically scouting against Kenji, you have to be aware that both him and the running back can run. So it kind of took pressure off the running backs and the O-line. They weren't stacking the box as much because you got to respect that Kenji, you got to respect that he can run.
Yeah, it did seem like in the last 2 weeks when Kenji was the full starter, the playbook opened up a little bit more. It seemed like the offense actually clicked a little bit more. He was a little bit more consistent and he could move, like you're saying. He could run out of the pocket, looked really good doing it. So I'm kind of excited if he ends up coming back then. And I think he could be the full starter. And I think he could be really good if he got a full season and a training camp under his belt.
Yeah, I don't know like what his plans are, but I feel like Kenji's a good quarterback. I feel like Clayton's a good quarterback. I don't know if I hope he's able to heal from his because he did something with his arm. I'm not really sure on what he did, but I hope whatever it is, I hope he comes back stronger from it. Because I mean, Clayton's a good dude. He works hard. The team really liked him. It's just unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate that we went 3-7. Like, I've pondered on it since I've been home, and I just really cannot believe that a team with so much talent. Because I mean, our defense, like I said, it was loaded, like loaded. And I mean, we got a couple guys I know. I'm just being honest. I know they will not be back in this league next year. You got Donald Payne, Chris Odoms, even Reggie Northup. Like, Will Likely. I don't think none of those, even Micah Abernathy, I can keep going. I really don't think none of those guys will be here next year. And I mean, we were just loaded, man. Offensively, I mean, we had T.O. Redding. And T.O., he didn't get much burn at the beginning. He wasn't even active at the beginning, but he ended up being one of our best receivers.
One of the guys in our network, he said T.O. Redding was one of the most underrated players in the entire league.
Yeah. No, seriously. Like, I mean, the stuff I've seen T.O. do all year in practice. And see, that's like, when I brought up the roster sizes, we're having that many players, and then on top of not activating all of them, it kind of, I'm not going to say it was kind of detrimental to the league, but it was kind of bad because, I mean, it was just not enough spots for everybody. We had some good players that some weeks they wouldn't even be active. And it's like, man, like if they were on another team, they would be active every week. But the roster sizes kind of messed that up because we had one receiver, Tyler Simmons from the University of Georgia. Like, Simmons could run, and I mean, it was one week he was activated. I want to say Birmingham week, and then it was another week. It might be 2 or 3 weeks he wasn't activated. Same with JoJo Ward. JoJo Ward, probably one of the fastest guys in the league. Like, I would put him in a race over Turpin.
Oh, he's a burner.
And I mean, Cavante Turpin he's a burner, but I would put him. I would literally, if I was to bet my money, I would bet my money on JoJo Ward beating Turpin in the race.
I kind of want to see that now.
I mean, he was that explosive.
We should set that up.
But
we'll call it like Barnes bets and put them together and make them race.
You said, what'd you say?
I said we'll call it Barnes bets, and we'll have Cavante Turpin and JoJo Ward race. And then you can just bet on it.
Man, look, I'm telling you, man, like that'll be one of the most interesting races, but I'm taking JoJo. Like, I'm just being honest. JoJo was a burner. I mean, T.O. Redding is probably, and I've been a lot of places. I've been on 3 different NFL teams and been in 4 different leagues. And I'm telling you, T.O. is the best 50-50 ball I've ever seen in my life.
Really?
Like, seriously. And I've seen a lot of dudes.
Dang. Well, we're super excited to see what happens with all the players. Like you said, the team was stacked. There's a lot of NFL talent. Friends of the network, we've had Donald Payne on multiple times. Dominique Davis, he was on before the season. We're planning on having him on sometime soon. I've been talking to him. And I'm just so excited to see where they go. And something that I really like about you, Brandon, is you have spent so much time just talking up and talking about your players. And that is awesome. You are a fantastic teammate, even after the season. But now I wonder, what's next for Brandon Barnes? What are you looking at right now in the offseason?
Well, I'm kind of stacking my options. I want to go back to the NFL, of course.
Mhm.
It's kind of, I really don't know. I didn't take none of the ball I played this year for granted. I tried to, give it all I had, but I was kind of, I felt like I was a little underutilized, and it's kind of frustrating. I feel like I put good film out there, but we live in a day and age where people kind of look at numbers, you know what I'm saying? And it's
Mhm.
like, I don't know, like if they turn on the tape, maybe they'll see, or they talk to the coaches, but I don't know as far as like stat wise if they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, like, but if they actually see me run routes and actually see me catch the football, I feel like they'll be impressed. So, I mean, my goal is, I took a week off and I started back working out, today. So I'm pretty much just gonna try to be in tip top shape, make sure, I'm ready just in case somebody calls for like a training camp or practice squad anytime during the year, because this is like a crazy year. And then, this is the first spring league that actually lasted. So, we got 10 games of film, current film. So anything can happen really the whole year. But besides that, I'm kind of working on, backup plans, trying to, be a GA at my old college or, any college that'll have me, just trying to do something productive to work on like the next step in life. But I mean, if push comes to shove, I'll be back with Houston next year. So
Well, as I think the number one Houston fan out there, I would absolutely love to have you back. I think you are a physical freak out there. You run great routes, you block super hard. And as I've learned tonight, you are an incredibly humble and nice guy. So I would love to see you in a Houston Gamblers jersey again, that is what you choose. But I do have a question. If
yeah,
not football, what would you like to do? You talked about being a GA. What path would that lead to?
well, I mean, it's kind of hard to say without football because I mean, I've been playing my whole life. But uh, are you asking me like if it's anything besides football that I would want to do?
Yeah, like if it ended up, tomorrow you decided no more football. What would be the career path that Brandon Barnes would like to go after?
Oh, definitely coaching. One
Well, I
one
think you'll be a
thousand
great coach.
percent coaching.
I think you'd be a
Yeah, I
great
think I'd
coach.
be a good
The way
coach
you
too.
talk about the way you talk about your teammates, other players in the league, I think you'd be a great players coach. The kind that the players can really look up to and learn from firsthand. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's probably my next route because I mean I love football so much, so it's kind of hard not to do something dealing with it. But my dream is really outside of playing is really to coach at the college level. I've always wanted to coach at the college level because you developing young men and stuff like that, and I just feel like you know that's just a good thing to do. Plus, I love football, so
Seems like a good plan to me. All right, Maverick, what questions do you have for Brandon while we got him?
Well, I was going to tell you that you certainly have the resume for coaching. I think that's definitely probably something that's in your future after football. I think you're going to be great at it. But I was just wondering about the season, how you thought it went throughout the season, and like how the team developed. Did you see guys moving from like out of the USFL and onto other things, or did you guys all stay together throughout the year?
um, well, we had maybe one or two guys that actually came from doing other stuff. I think I want to say Christian Sacoli might have been working Wall Street or something like that. That's what I heard. I'm not truly
What?
sure, but I know he's a highly intelligent guy. So if he wants to play football, I'm pretty sure he'll play football. But if not, he'll probably be back working at Wall Street. And then we end up getting a guy late, D tackle. I can't think of his name, but he ended up signing on late, and he was pretty much retired from football. But I think he wanted to give it another. He was like one more year from his actual pension in the NFL. So, I think those are the only two guys I could see not pursuing it anymore. But other than that, we had Big Avery Genesee. He coached at East Mississippi, and I know he loves East Mississippi because he wears something East Mississippi every day. Like literally, he does shirt, hat, vest. He's gonna have something East Mississippi on every day. And anybody that says something about it, he gonna let you hear about it. But he's actually coaching at East Mississippi. He was the O-line coach. So I think, he might consider coming back, but I mean, because he loves football, but at the same time, it's kind of one of those things like the way our season's set up and the time frame, you really can do more than one thing. So it's kind of weird. Like you can literally have a job and then go back and play football. It's kind of weird, but I feel like it's pretty cool. I hope it sticks, for a long time. That's the thing. Like I don't want it to be one of those things where it's like, oh, it happened 1 or 2 years and we done. I hope it continues to happen like this.
Well, I actually posted today an article that Fox posted where they said that next year they're doing at least 2 cities, if not 4. So they guaranteed the 2023 season, and they're going to be expanding into other markets and other cities. And I'm hoping they come to Houston. I'm really hoping, because then I will
Okay.
be there every game. I'll be there in all the press conferences in person, on the field, all that good stuff. Because right now I just Zoom into the press conferences, and I don't think Kevin Sumlin likes me as much over Zoom as maybe he would if I was there in person. So I'd really like to be able to go and just experience that and see y'all in person play, because I think it's something special watching the Gamblers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. If I'm a Houston gambler, I hope it's in Houston too. Cause I mean, I kind of, I'm a little biased, but I feel like Birmingham was like getting everything because it was like, okay, we're in Birmingham, so they're gonna get a little home cooking. But it's like, man, like, and I'm from Alabama, so I know how Alabama is about any football, not just any football. So, the fact that we were in Birmingham, it just kind of funny. Like I remember we played them the first time, and we were the home team technically, but we weren't the home team. Like Birmingham was coming out in smoke, fireworks, and stuff like that, and I'm just like y'all not even home, but it's like, is it fair or like what? I just felt like, it was kind of unfair to certain teams because it's like, and then you can see the crowd difference too. If Birmingham's fan base was going crazy like that, I know for a fact if if people moved to Liz or they had Houston, we would have even crazier fan bases. I mean, Houston was one of the best fan bases in the XFL.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I would be there every single home game, Brandon. I'm telling you that right now. I would love it.
I know we're all excited to expand, but is there anything you're going to miss about Birmingham, like all of the games being in Birmingham?
I'm gonna miss. I had a lot of friends in this. It's like,
I think. Can you hear him?
No, he's cutting out. No, I want to hear about his friends.
Yeah.
Ah. Hopefully we're on that list now. All right.
Can y'all hear me?
Now we can.
Okay, well, I had friends
It does not want him to talk about his friends.
Doesn't want him to talk about his friends, man. Dang.
What terrible timing.
I know. He'll come back. Can you hear us, Brandon? I keep adjusting my mic like that's going to change it, but it's not. It's not going to change it. While we're here, me and Maverick are both wearing our hats from Royal Retros. Go to royalretros.com, use promo code USFL Network to get 10% off your entire purchase.
So, you know, it's kind of weird. Do you guys hear me now?
Oh, wow. Did you just change rooms? That was sudden.
Yeah.
That was super sudden.
I feel
Can you
like
hear us, Brandon?
I feel like that scene in Forrest Gump where you can't hear anything until the very end. We missed the whole story.
We missed the whole story.
Oh, well, yeah.
Looks like he's.
I have friends on every team. So it's kind of cool being, getting to hang around all them.
You're kind of cutting out, but we could hear that a little bit. You said you had friends on every team, and it was nice being able to see them all the time. Brandon?
Yeah, pretty much. Like, yeah, it was cool guys and stuff. It was just fun. Like, it was like it wasn't, hang around and, try to get to know people, from different backgrounds and stuff like that. It was pretty cool.
That's awesome. I always love when you get a sense of community, anywhere. We even get one. We get a sense of community in our little network here, and I've never met any of them in person except for my man Maverick here and my mother-in-law KB. But I mean, I love that you got to hang out with all the teams, and that is something that the league won't have once they start expanding. But hopefully you'll still see some faces you recognize at the games.
Yeah, it was weird at first, though.
That makes sense. All right. Well, Brandon, the connection and your yawns are telling me that we should probably start wrapping it up. Let's see. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Brandon. All right. So
I appreciate y'all for having me. I hate the connection was horrible.
No worries. At the beginning, when you started cutting out, I thought we would have major problems, and it ended up being really good for most of it. So, do not worry about that. Yes, sir. Thank you, Brandon. All right. Well, that was the USFL Network presents Alabama Backwoods. Brandon, you were a pleasure. Thank you. I'm a huge fan. If you have any videos, highlights you want me to post, send them to me. Tag me in them. I'll retweet all of it. Thank you so much for coming on. As always, everybody, this was the USFL Network presents interviewing Houston Gamblers tight end Brandon Barnes, coming to TVs near you. Joined by my brother Maverick. You can find him at PoddenMyTake1 on Twitter. Find me at PocketAces_USFL. And find Brandon Barnes on Twitter at IG_Barnes. He is a great follow. He's very interesting. And he gave us a fantastic story. Thank you, Brandon. Everybody at home, have a great night.